Hey everyone, this is Bathmetrics, and today we're going to do something a little different. I'm taking a quick side trip to tell you how I solved a problem that I was trying to figure out. I have recently fallen in love with a thing called VSX by Slate Audio. This is Waves has something like it they call NSX, and the idea is giving you a way in headphones to simulate lots of different professional mixing environments. Waves takes a different approach than Slate. I very much appreciate Slate's approach, and I've just grown to love this system. Now, I got to make clear, this is not paid promotion. This is kind of a pricey solution. I paid for it myself. I have no promotional connection with Slate. I just think this is a great product, and I like a lot of other Slate products too. This thing makes it so you almost don't need a sub pack, and I have been mixing exclusively in this without any monitors on my desk since I moved into my new house a month ago. It's nice not having my desk cluttered with monitors and being able to spread my computer monitors side by side instead of having to look up and down all the time. This is great. It really helps you come up with mixes that'll translate well across a variety of systems. There's a bunch of great control rooms modeled in here. There's a really useful SUV and nightclub simulation. This is modeled after a nightclub in Los Angeles. They've got great simulations of all the standard headphones we all use. I used to work on HD 650s. They've got a DT770 emulation, an ATX M50X emulation, Apple EarPods, Audi's LCD 2 and 4 emulation. And just the thing is, you can mix on a variety of near fields, mid fields, and far field monitors in these control rooms. And you can also test these other environments that are pretty important to translate in. And what they're doing is modeling a perfectly flat response in these environments. And you're getting all the time domain effects and the effects of the room itself, which actually is pretty important for mixing. And that's why your mixes don't translate. You mix on a pair of near fields 2 or 3 or 4 feet from your face, or you mix on a pair of headphones, and you're hearing a fairly dry signal, especially if you're in a well-treated room, right? And the minute you go play this back in other environments that aren't treated and have typical, room modes and reflections and all kinds of stuff, this is when problems in your mix can really become apparent. And even in really well-designed control rooms, there's a certain degree of reflection and modes, and different control rooms will point out potential translation problems in your mix. So the system's just so good. And what I like about it compared to the Waves solution is this is based on reference headphones that you buy with the system. So long story short, all of these models translate to your headphones precisely because they're made for a certain spectral quality of the headphones themselves. Waves system is like use it with any headphones, and of course it's going to sound different on every pair of headphones. So anyway, long story short, if you're really serious, I think this is a great solution. You can check it out on your own. But the problem I wanted to solve is I want to listen to all of my Windows system audio sources like YouTube videos or songs or albums uploaded to Discord and my producer groups that I'm part of, or even especially my favorite reference tracks that I listen to all the time, what I think are really, really good examples of the genres I work in. I like to listen to them through Deezer Hi-Fi because this is 100% lossless FLAC streaming. If I upload a song to my distributor and then I rip it off of Deezer Hi-Fi and null tested against my original that I uploaded, they null perfectly. I mean, it's just a lossless FLAC. And Deezer is one of the first platforms to be doing this. Others will be following suit as 5G becomes more prevalent. And there's no reason to have shitty lossless codecs anymore. Sorry for cursing, but I get so mad at Spotify and the other platforms and all the wars about, should you master for Spotify? No, you shouldn't, because all that crap is temporary. Once 5G is out there everywhere and 5G is the norm, none of those platforms have any excuse to keep forcing you to use, well, they have no excuse to keep streaming crappy lossy codecs, right? Like MP3 or AAC. And even Tidal is missing the mark with its MQA format because it's still not lossless. It still won't null correctly against what you uploaded. So I think you're going to see more and more platforms over time offering a hi-fi option of some sort that is basically just lossless FLAC streaming. Okay, so I wanted to be able to listen to all of these sources through Slate VSX. The problem is VSX is just a plugin. They don't have a standalone version of it, and that's okay, right? So is there a solution we can use on both Windows and Mac that will let you listen to any kind of source, YouTube, whatever, through VSX so that you can train your ears to just be used to how everything sounds in your favorite rooms in VSX? So let's talk about that. I did finally find a solution, but boy, did I have to jump through some hoops to figure out that solution. I did Googling, like, is there a way to use VSTs to filter your Windows system audio through VSTs? And it's going to be the same problem on Macs. And I came across a few solutions. There's one by DDMF. These are the people that make Plugin Doctor. And this supposedly lets you run any kind of apps through a single effect rack in which you can load up VSTs. So I tried it, but it's buggy. It has problems with buffering mismatches between the input and the output, especially if you're using an ASIO sound card for your output. So there was always the typical dropout glitching and crackling and pops that you have when you have buffer overruns. So this solution was no good. Another solution that I've seen suggested out there is this thing called Equalizer APO. I took one look at this and said, oh, heck no. It's just, it's freeware, open source. It's kind of janky. It wasn't really designed for this, even though you can load VSTs into it. It was designed to be an equalizer plugin, and it looks like a nightmare to configure. So I said, nope, not even going to try that one. And then I stumbled across one Reddit post that talked about using, everyone knows about this. If you stream and use OBS, you've certainly run into Voicemeeter, Banana, and these things called virtual audio cables or VB cables from this outfit, same people that make Voicemeeter, Banana. So they have these virtual audio cables. And if you use this in conjunction with a somewhat expensive solution, it's $99 or 99 euros. But Blue Cat in France makes a virtual patch bay for VSTs, and it's a really, really robust kind of utility for pre-building racks. It's good, especially for DAWs that are terrible for rack building. Like Studio One is a great DAW in many ways, but it just falls on its face when it comes to sound design and building complex racks out of VSTs and interesting routing options between those VSTs. Studio One's terrible for that. So in Studio One, some people use this to get around that limitation and be able to build audio racks kind of like we take for granted in Ableton or Bitwig, where, sound design is just, it's a playground because you can build crazy racks. So anyway, Blue Cat makes a standalone version of this. So you run it on your desktop, and they have a Windows standalone version. They have Mac I think Mac standalone versions. And when you can do a demo for free just to make sure it works for you. So I demoed it on the WinX64 app demo. You have to make sure you grab this one to duplicate what I'm about to show you. And then if you actually purchase it, which I instantly did because it works perfect, again, you have, when you buy a license for this thing, the version you want to download is the Win64 app if you're on Windows. And then if you're on Mac, it's just like one installer does everything. And I think you have a standalone version on Mac. Don't quote me on that because I don't use Mac for audio production. I just use that for work. So anyway, assuming you have these two things, a virtual audio cable, and you can get this for free. You can get one of these for free right here on this page. Search for VB Audio, virtual audio cable. I downloaded the Windows one. And when you're done loading it up and you've got Blue Cat's Patcher installed, here's how the whole thing works to let me play anything I want from Windows through Slate VSX. So let's move some things over to the side and just kind of show you from the ground up. So let's say I'm playing Deezer. And I'll play one of my own songs so I don't run into copyright troubles.
I know you said you don't know how.
Okay, that's, loud. So if we go into Windows and we look at the sound settings, we can see that I'm sending it to my Motu M4 device, this is my audio interface. So my Motu is running at 44.1, 512 buffer size, right? And if we go to the typical Windows sound control panel, which you'd get to by clicking right here, we can see that, by default, my output device is the Motu. By default, I'm actually recording to a line-in channel on the Motu. But after installing the virtual audio cable, the VB cable rather, where are you hiding? These things that say DDMF are things that were failed experiments, so ignore those. Where's the VB cable? There it is. Here's what the VB cable looks like in this thing. So this is the input for recording, and this is the output for playback. Even though it says input and output, it's a little confusing. But we're not going to use this dialog to set things up. Instead, when you come down here in Windows to this thing called Advanced Sound Options, and you click it, you can see every app that you have open that's playing some sort of audio stream. So I've got Deezer in the background. I was just playing it, so it's seeing Deezer. And all I need to do, these boxes are ordered by output on the top, input on the bottom. So if I go to the output box for Deezer and I pick this virtual audio cable's input, right? What I'm doing is saying, Deezer, in particular, I want you to be routing your audio through this virtual cable. Okay, so I've picked that for the output. And then I just fire up Blue Cat as a standalone app. This is what it looks like. And when you first set it up, you'll want to go into Audio Setup and set it up to use Windows WASP for the driver. And you say, okay, for the input, I want you to use the output of that virtual audio cable, right? So it's right here among all the DREC, right? So your sound source goes to the cable input. Your sound output from the cable is the input into Blue Cat Patchwork, okay? And then for the output from Blue Cat Patchwork, you say, send it to my audio device. So send it to my line out on my audio card. And the main thing to be aware of is you're going to want your sample rate and buffer size to match whatever you've got set on your sound card, okay? Otherwise, you could run into buffer underruns or jittering. And you don't have to touch anything else here, just these boxes right here, okay? So once you've got the audio stuff set up, you can use any one of these slots. They've got pre slots, they've got a bunch of parallel chains, they've got post slots. I'm just going to use a post slot. Load VST3 because I like using VST3 most of the time. Let's scroll through all these until I find VSX. There you are. And it loads VSX, and boom, here we go. So now we can, browse all the different rooms and the different kinds of speakers and monitors in each room, right? Go to a specific set of headphones, whatever. So let's just start with Steven's room. We'll start with the midfield. And I'm actually going to bypass this. So what I've done, okay, I'm running my output of Deezer through that cable into Patchwork, which is listening to the output of that cable. And then Patchwork is going to, run every VST I've loaded in here and then send it to my audio card. So because VSX is bypassed at first, it's going to sound pretty much the same as before, just a little quieter in volume because all these modeling things have to give themselves some headroom to work. So it'll be a little quieter now when I play Deezer. So now I'm going to flip over and go through some emulations. They'll sound weird to you, probably bad to you, because you're not listening to them on the headphones that these emulations were made for. That's okay. I'm just showing you that it's actually going through this plugin now. Okay, that's enough. Bypassing this again. So as you can see, you were hearing the sound change because all that signal is running through here. And this Blue Cat solution with the virtual audio cable is perfect because it compensates for latency. The reason the DDMF solution wasn't working is it doesn't compensate for plug-in latency. And there's a certain amount of latency on the VSX because of all the complex linear phase modeling it's doing. So, this doesn't just work with Deezer. This can also work with, let's say, Discord. So if I come over here to Discord and play a video or song or anything that somebody's uploaded to some channel on Discord, like this one. Hey everyone, this is Bathmetrics. Happy 2022. Okay, so that's playing through Discord. And if we come back over here to Windows specific sound settings, we can now see that there's an entry for Discord because it says, hey, I've got audio coming from Discord now. And so I could do the same thing. I could come over here and set the output from Discord to go into the input of my virtual cable, right alongside Deezer also sending that virtual cable. And so just by doing this, I'm now running this Discord audio stream through the output of the cable, which is Blue Cat's Patchwork. And so now we're going to hear my voice from this video sounding very different depending on which emulation I pick. Today I'm starting a new series of much shorter, more focused videos about mixing loud and using my clip to zero technique. And this whole series effectively comprises a set of updates to my thinking about clip to zero for 2022 and beyond. I introduced this technique, a year and a half ago. Okay, so see, it works from something like Discord. And then it also works from, straight from your web browser and anything you might be playing on your web browser, like let's go to a YouTube video. Hey everyone, this is Bathmetrics. Happy 2022. So right now, that's pretty loud, almost matched with my voice, because it isn't being routed through VSX yet, so it's playing at full volume. But again, if you come over to Windows Settings, and again, this is the, you get to the specific outputs for any sound by going to this area called Advanced Sound Options, right? So when we come here, now we see that my browser, I use something called Vivaldi. By default, it's just going straight to my Motu. But if I click this and say, no, send it to the input of my virtual cable, now it's being routed through Blue Cat's Patcher, which means it's now being routed through any VSTs loaded in Blue Cat's Patcher. So again, if I play straight from Vivaldi, the volume's going to be quieter now because it's running through VSX. Today I'm starting a new series of much shorter, more focused videos about mixing loud and using my clip to zero technique. And this whole series effectively comprises a set of updates to my thinking about clip to zero for 2022 and beyond. I introduced this technique, I don't know, a year and a half ago on YouTube. And I've made some pretty long videos showing various things about it, doing walkthroughs. Okay, so see how easy that is? So this is how you do it on Windows. I'm sure you could adapt to this same workflow and these same tools to work on Mac as well. But of all the things I've tried, absolutely nothing sounds clean and jitter-free and lag-free, glitch-free, because there's no buffer overruns, because this is built right. It does the plug-in compensation. So really simple solution. Hopefully this helps those of you who are on Windows and Mac. And if you end up using Slate VSX, or if you already have something like Waves NSX, or just, you've always wished you could listen to your stuff through any VST you have, this is a really good solution I found. So I hope this is helpful. Take it easy. See you next time.